A child gave food to a homeless person. The next day, cameras invaded the school. It was a cloudy Monday morning. The wind blew strongly through the suburban streets, scattering dry leaves and an odd silence. On his way to school, Noah carefully held his lunch to sandwiches lovingly wrapped by his mother. As he walked, something caught his attention. Across the street, near a trash can, a man was shivering, huddled inside a dirty, thin coat. His eyes were sunken, as if sleep and hope had left him long ago. Noah stopped. He looked at his lunch, then at the man. Something inside him, a small but firm voice, said, "You can share." Without a second thought, he crossed the street and approached. The man slowly raised his eyes, startled, hesitant, but his expression changed when he saw what the boy was offering, a still warm sandwich. "It's for you," Noah said with a shy smile. There was a silence that felt bigger than any words. The man took the sandwich with trembling hands. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice almost gone. Noah just nodded and kept walking. On the way to school, the boy's heart was pounding, but in a good way. He didn't tell anyone, not his friends, not his teacher. To him, it was just the right thing to do, as if it didn't need to be news. But something changed in that small town from that moment on. Something Noah couldn't even imagine. The man wasn't just any homeless person, and that simple gesture was about to light a powder keg. The next morning, Noah's school was different. Strange cars were parked outside. People with cameras, microphones, and notepads roamed the courtyard as if waiting for a celebrity. Inside the classroom, the teacher tried to keep the lesson on track, but glanced at the window every minute. Noah didn't understand what was happening. He only knew the air felt heavy, like something big was about to unfold. A few minutes later, the principal entered the room. She called Noah by his full name. Every eye turned to him. Some classmates giggled nervously. Others widened their eyes. Noah swallowed hard and stood up. In the hallway, the TV crew was waiting. There was a man with a press badge, a smiling reporter, and a camera pointed straight at him. Noah's heart raced. What had he done? The reporter crouched down to his level. "You're Noah, right?" He nodded, wary. "We want to talk to you about what you did yesterday morning." At that moment, Noah realized someone had seen, and now the world was watching. Noah stood frozen, unsure of what to say. The cameras made him nervous. He'd never given an interview. He didn't even know how these people found out about what happened. It was just a sandwich. No big deal, he thought. "Do you know who that man was?" the reporter asked softly. Noah shook his head. "No, just saw he was hungry." The honesty in his answer made everyone exchange glances, as if they'd heard something rare. The principal, standing nearby, took a deep breath. Noah, that man, was Mr. Mitchell. The name meant nothing to him. He had no idea who that was, but the others seemed struck by it. He's a former principal of a school nearby. He had health issues, lost everything, and has been living on the streets for months. The principal's voice was low, almost mournful. Few people knew. Silence filled the hallway. Noah just stared at the floor, processing the words. He'd never imagined the man had a story. To him, he was just someone hungry, and that was enough to help. Then the reporter explained, Mr. Mitchell had sought help that same day, after receiving the sandwich. He said something in him changed, that the gesture gave him strength, that maybe there was still kindness in the world, and more. He told the story to a volunteer, who shared it in a local group. Someone posted it online. Within hours, thousands reacted. The post went viral. The image of a boy giving food became a symbol of empathy. Noah's interview was short. He spoke little, just said he learned from his mom to share, that he wasn't a hero, that he only saw someone cold and hungry, and he'd do it again, even without knowing who it was. Leaving the school building, more surprises awaited. 2 vans with National Network logos were parked outside. Newspapers, local radio, even an online channel from New York. Everyone wanted to know about the boy who touched so many. But Noah just wanted to go home. Or rather, he wanted to know if Mr. Mitchell was okay. He asked about him, and the principal smiled. He's in a shelter now, got medical help, and he asked to see you. The boy's heart raced again. A different kind of fear, of not knowing what to say, but also a deep urge to see that face again, to understand how it all turned into this. At the shelter, accompanied by his mom and the principal, Noah saw the man sitting in a simple armchair. He had clean clothes, and a different look. The look of someone who'd started to believe again. "Hey, champ," Mr. Mitchell said, smiling. "Yesterday, you saved my life. You just don't know it yet." Noah was speechless. His eyes welled up. He just stepped closer and hugged him. A long, real hug, no questions asked. The hug between Noah and Mr. Mitchell was so powerful that even the volunteers around them fell silent. It was as if time stopped for a few seconds, just for that moment to happen. A boy, a forgotten man, and a gesture that changed everything. Noah's mom watched, overcome with emotion. She had always taught her son to be kind, but never imagined that simple lesson could touch so many. She held back tears, her heart swelling with pride and surprise. The school principal took a photo of the two together. That image spread too. It became the symbol of a campaign taking shape. Small gestures, big changes. Soon, Noah's story went from viral to a movement. People from all over sent messages. Teachers, parents, kids. Many said they wanted to help too. Some started handing out snacks on the streets. Others began visiting shelters, all inspired by a child who shared his lunch. Amid this, Noah's school was approached by an educational foundation. They wanted to learn more about the boy. The team arrived with offers of support, books, school supplies, and even a scholarship for his future. But Noah didn't quite understand what was happening. "I just did what anyone would do," he said, confused. It wasn't to get anything, and no matter how much people insisted, he remained the same shy, simple boy. Mr. Mitchell, meanwhile, began to recover. He received counseling, medical treatment, and reconnected with a long-lost sister. She showed up after seeing his story on TV and decided to find him. After years apart, they hugged as if time had rewound. A week later, the school held an assembly. Noah was invited to speak, but felt nervous. He took small steps onto the stage, looking at all the classmates, teachers, and parents. Then he said, "If you see someone hungry, help, even if no one sees, even if no one knows." The audience gave a standing ovation, not for the speech, but for the purity. It wasn't rehearsed. It was real. A boy saying what he felt. No filter, no vanity, just the truth of someone who did good out of love, not for fame. From that day on, a box was placed at the school's entrance. Extra lunch. Anyone could leave food there. Anyone could take some. No questions. No judgment. Noah passed by it every day and smiled quietly. One day, as he left school, Noah saw another child placing a juice in the box. She looked at him, shyly. "It's for the next Mr. Mitchell," she said before running off. And in that moment, Noah knew this was bigger than him. Without realizing it, Noah had sparked a flame in a town that seemed asleep. Gradually, other neighborhoods began setting up their own donation boxes. Churches, markets, even a bus station put up a shelf with food. The media kept following from a distance, but Noah no longer cared about the cameras. He just wanted Mr. Mitchell to be okay, and he wanted no one to go hungry again, even though he knew that was too big for him alone. One afternoon, the shelter held a small event. Some people who had come off the streets returned to thank the volunteers. Mr. Mitchell was one of the first to speak. Emotional, he shared his story, but before finishing, he called Noah to the stage. "This boy gave me a sandwich," he began. "But what he really gave me was dignity." The room fell silent, and sometimes, that's what we need most. Someone who sees us, who treats us like people. Noah climbed up shyly, as always. He stood beside Mr. Mitchell, and sure of what to say. Then he held his hand. Nothing more was needed. The applause followed, but to Noah, it all still felt like too much for something so simple at its core. On the way home, he asked his mom, "Will it last?" She smiled. "Maybe not everywhere, but it started here, and that's already a lot." Noah looked out the car window and saw another child handing a package to a man sitting on the ground. A few days later, a letter arrived in the mail. It was from a school in another state. It said the students had watched Noah's story in class, and they decided to start a similar project. They called it the Sandwich Chain. That made Noah laugh. It was a funny name, but beautiful. It showed that what he did was continuing, in places he didn't even know, with people he'd never seen, but who, somehow, felt connected to him. Noah kept the letter in a memory box, along with Mr. Mitchell's note and the first photo the principal took. All there, like small trophies, but without shine, without gold, just paper and feeling. One night, before bed, Noah looked out his bedroom window. Outside, the town was quiet. He thought about how many people might be cold, hungry, or just waiting for someone to care. And he wished, from the bottom of his heart, that more kids would learn to listen to that little inner voice. The next morning, he left home with 2 sandwiches again. One for him, the other, in case someone needs it. And so, without knowing, Noah was restarting the story, one that might never end. Because kindness, once planted, never stops growing.